So, celebrating the fact, today is July 25th ish. Could be wrong. Could be the 26th. Probably should have checked that before I came on. 2024. I am in Redondo Beach. I just shot one of these on Instagram. It went kind of long, had a lot to say. So I kind of promised myself and whoever was watching I would try to do one that was a little quicker with more of the information. Whoa. So been through some stuff, got lots of stories, and I've been through what I call the dark night of the soul. Um, the operation was a week ago today, and I'm alive. I've got 4 holes in me, one of which is sitting in the bag, which is a whole, serious learning curve. But it really helped me understand my grandmother better, and what I witnessed her go through for 38 years as the third successful colostomy, back when this diagnosis was a death sentence. Still is in some cases, and we'll yet to see with me. So on Monday, this coming Monday, May 29th, they're going to take out the staples, and we may have the pathology report that will determine next steps. Next steps is either they reconnect me and I go on about my day, we call it cured, or they reconnect me and just, and I go on with being monitored very closely. Or they reconnect me and I start chemo. As maintenance. I'm not down with that at all. But they said they feel very confident, but we're all waiting on the data. And hopefully it'll be available at my appointment on Monday, but definitely next week sometime. So my friend Mary Margaret has been most graciously hosting me as a couch guest since I drove out of the hospital last weekend. That's last Sunday at noon. And as I was driving out, I heard metal on metal and had to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to be able to drive far, and that the only driving I should be doing with the van is to the mechanics, who weren't open until Monday. So I spent from 10:30 in the morning on Monday till 8 o'clock at night driving to and coming from the valley, where I got the car worked on, the brakes fixed, They replaced the rotors and whatnot in the back, and something in the front, discs in the front, discs and rotors in the back. So now I'm pretty confident that for at least the next 20 years, this van is going to be able to stop without making that noise. And that day, sitting there, they said they could get me in, and they worked on it until 7 overtime, and they gave me a free tail light, fixed my tail light that I broke at the backing into the telephone pole in front of the Woods Hole Yacht Club last summer. I had patched it up, and they said, we're gonna free of charge. These are Ukrainian Christians that really understand this. The core of the religion is compassion, and they try to live that, practice that on the daily. They only work till Friday afternoon, and but they work their asses off, and I'm so very grateful to have found them. So, sprinter experts in Sun Valley, California, right next to near the Pasadena Airport. When I got there, there was a line of sprinters down the alley, and I said, can I leave it? And they said, we don't have space for it. And sure as hell they didn't. All the back bays were full, all the lift bays were full, and in the alley. So they said, but we can get you in by 3, and we'll take care of you. And I was like, okay. So I waited around, and what I discovered around 6 o'clock was that it was the first day that I went without medication, pain medication, and that was a good thing. This guy, this yellow shirt, like Woody. Yep, so 29th is the next event. My friend Mary Margaret, flowers. She brought these flowers that are half white roses and half carnations, right? White carnations in blue water. So as you know, the days went by, they became more and more blue. Because she knows I love blue. And she had, check this out, they wouldn't let her in with the blue vase that she brought. So she had to improvise and go and get a blue plastic pitcher, because she knew I loved blue. You know, I mean, that is a friend, you know. I felt like I was taken care of the way that my mom took care of me when I was in the hospital as a kid. Mom brought me these comic books about history, because she knew I loved history. And she brought comic books that were comic book versions of science fiction novels, classic science fiction novels like H.G. Wells or The Worlds, because she knew I loved that shit, you know? So I had a whole stack of those that she brought me, and because she knew that that's what I needed, was to be, the best way to nurture this kid is to give him something to read about science, you know, and adventure. in history, you know? Whew, that's love. My mother came to me a lot in the hospital because her spirit was there for sure, because um, she'd been a charge nurse in the nursing home in Falmouth for years, a couple decades. And I would hear, she'd come home and tell me stories sometimes of some of my old teachers and what they were going through in there. Mindful that my mother was a charge nurse on the terminal ward, working the 11 to 7 shift. And so at this hospital, at UCLA Harbor, a 12-hour shift. So you're with them for 12 hours. They're watching over you. They're, drawing your blood. They're doing your checking your vitals. They're changing the IVs and making sure that that the IVs are flowing, and, helping you get up. Oh man, making sure you're alive. Making sure that you're taking whatever the medication is you're prescribed, making sure that you're getting it. And if that's what you want, because you can refuse it. And I actually had to refuse. So Sunday morning, the operation was 18th, Thursday. And Sunday morning, the 22nd, was when they just came in and said, "We think you can go home today." And up until that point, that was probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. Up until that point, I was thinking, I got to get the fuck out of here. I just got to get out of here. Oh, this is a beautiful shot. And they said, "We just want to do this IV first." So the IV was going to take 3 hours. It was potassium, some form of potassium chloride, something. And so they set the bag up. So I had 2 IVs I had one on my hand and one on my arm. And when I left the hospital, my arm started to swell up. It's been going down since, so yippee. In one of those IVs was saline, to keep me hydrated. So they put it in the one that was in hand. And it was as painful as if the needle had infiltrated. But it turns out that's just what happens when you take an IV of potassium. So they mixed it with the saline, and it didn't hurt anyone. So when that bag was done, they said they came in. They said, "Well, you can leave after this next bag of potassium." I said, "So around 2 o'clock." They said, "Cool." They put the bag on, except this time they didn't mix it with anything. It was just straight potassium, and it friggin' hurt. And the nurse said, "You don't have to do this if you don't want to do it." And I said, I don't think it's wise for me to sit here and hurt for the next 3 hours. I don't see the point of that. I'll just eat more bananas, So so that meant that I could leave right away. And so that's what happened. They wheeled me down to the what do you call it, pharmacy. Gave me a prescription for Imodium and Tylenol. And I've been taking 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol every 4 to 6 hours since Saturday night, I think, maybe Friday night, something like that, maybe Friday night. And I'm not used to taking drugs, not those kind of drugs, pills and whatnot. And it really messed with my dreams. But it made it so that made me conscious in my dreams to the fact that I was so uncomfortable with what I was dreaming that I had to exercise mental discipline in my sleep to keep steering the dreams in positive directions, because I was having some of the most horrendous dreams. And when you're having those kind of dreams, that means you're generating some sort of cortisol, fearfulness, and thus cortisol in your system. So who wants to do that? You know, it's not conducive to healing. So I had to steer my mind to my happy places so I'd have better dreams. Hallelujah. Check this shit out. Doing it. Life is weird, man. All right, so that's pretty much. I hope that covers a lot. This Monday, I have 2 appointments. One with the surgeons. They're going to take the staples and maybe tell me the results of the pathology, if they got it all. Until then, I'm as soon as these meds kind of wear off a little bit, I'm going to drive over to the extended stay place that my friend got me booked a room for, and through Monday, and just go deeper into this. I know that this is this dark night of the soul time. Last night I had a really rough night. I was retching. It's first time in all 3 cancer stories that I've actually retched like continually. But I overbalanced the electrolytes, the Gatorade I was doing. I'm supposed to do a lot, but I wasn't drinking enough water, and I paid for it. But the best part about that experience was it showed me where I am, in that if that had happened 2 days before, I couldn't have stood the pain. The wounds would have been, they would have ripped. The sensitivity was such that I knew that I couldn't even sneeze, and I might rip something open. But last night, I went through it, and I got a sense of how all 4 levels are healing, and that I could move easier after that. So, hard lesson, hard learned, but good to know. So much of this, Yep. Alrighty then. Trip to the mechanic. Grueling as it was, as blessed as it was, it cost $1,100. And that was $1,100 out of the housing allotment I've been saving up from the GoFundMe. So now what I have to work with is about $1,700 left from the GoFundMe that we collected since I reactivated the GoFundMe um, when it was at the marker was at $16,000 and $16,004. I reactivated it in October, a week before those colonoscopies, and they confirmed the diagnosis because I knew, I wasn't going to have the resources to get through this out of pocket with what I had, just the Social Security, which is wonderful, but it's not enough. It wouldn't by itself. It wouldn't be enough. Like, getting the engine, having to need to get the engine rebuilt. That was $7,000, which, people have paid twice as much. But the Ukrainians, the Christian Ukrainians. So I was there, when I got there, he had this alleyway full of these Sprinter vans in various forms of repair. And I met the brother that owned the van that was being worked on at the head of the alleyway, and we both had this moment of seeing the praises of having found people that understand these vehicles, almost to tears. He was expressing how he felt, and I said, brother, I am right there with you. I am so right there with you, because it took me 3 years to find these guys. 3 years of not going to mechanics who have no friggin' clue about Sprinter vans. And we'll tell you straight up, we don't know what we're doing. We need to find somebody else. So to actually find people that know what the fuck, you save yourself a whole lot of money just in the first 2 minutes of them saying, oh yeah, it's just the blah, 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 and it'll cost you, blah, 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 it'll take this long. Boom. Thank you. And can you do it right now? And they do. Major shit that in other situations, like this brake job, whole friggin' brake job. Rebuilding the engine took them a week and a half. Anyway, I've been blessed and challenged while I'm being blessed. I've been blessed with challenges, I should say. There you go. I've been blessed with incredible challenges and savoring them, trying to understand. But what that taught me on Monday, spending the whole day in the valley, was the first day without the medications. It taught me that I could function. It taught me the boundaries and limits of dealing with this hole in my belly. I have been gutted. I have been gutted in this life. Can check the box. Cosmic bingo card. Two other marks on my cosmic bingo card. One is being conscious for when they pull out a catheter. Yep, check that box. And the other is being conscious for when they pull out a drain out of the side of you. That was the worst. I cussed up a storm when that happened. The only warning he gave me is like, people say that this feels weird. Oh, really? I confirm that it feels weird, but it also hurts like a motherfucker. All right? Jesus. Could have enjoyed some heads up there, bro. But what was he gonna say? Hey, before I pull on this, just so you know, this is gonna hurt like a fucker. I couldn't have laughed like that 2 days ago. Oh my goodness, it hurt. So my friend Mary Margaret, the first night I got out of the hospital, she made 5-star restaurant level lamb chops. It was magnificent. It was magnificent. And chicken soup. And chicken soup. Capital friend, Angel. But I'm not eating now. I understand why colostomy bag people don't want to eat a whole lot, because it's an ordeal. It's more of an ordeal, for sure. And most of us, we don't pay any friggin' attention to eating and what it does to us. But man, I can't help but pay attention to it. So I've decided not to eat ever again. Or at least until I'm hungry again. And I'm going to try not to be hungry for a long time. For real. He's talking nuts over here. So yeah, this is Redondo Beach. And been really blessed. My friend Mary Margaret has one of these, she gave me one of these street passes so I can park at the meter right in front of her friggin' house. Short walk, hallelujah. But it's time to go do nothing, as much nothing as I possibly can. I'll try to make a more cogent version of this in the future. I've researched moving back into the hotel on the boardwalk. It's $2,500 a month with a one security, and a $300 cleaning fee. So you get back about $2,200. And the minimum amount of time they will rent it for is 3 months. So they would need $5,000 going in, and then you pay $2,500 a month from then on. I personally would love, if I were going to do it, to not have to worry about coming up with the next month. I would want the whole thing already covered. So knowing that it was all covered before moving in. So we'll see if that's but I saw myself doing it, and I kept, the first night I was here, I switched out the Tylenol for these THC capsules that are or tablets that are 20 milligrams of sativa, and thankfully they work instead of having to take Tylenol. But they definitely, I mean, you definitely, I'm going to try to get some that are 10 milligrams in a day or so. I think that'll be more manageable. But yeah, that's what's up. I'm alive, damn it. Yeah, Sprinter Band people know what the fuck. is up, Jack? And it's not just a lifestyle. It's an experience worthy of living. I mean, I really enjoyed all those years I spent in Volkswagens, living out of Volkswagen buses and whatnot. 25 years or more. 30 years. But this is definitely an upgrade. I can stand up. You know? That might not seem like much to people, but psychologically it makes a big difference to be able to, I can stand, which if I can stand up, I can stand on my head, which I have right there. So, especially there were a couple of times this winter when I couldn't go outside. I couldn't be exposed to the humid air because of the chemo. I really felt the need to stand on my head. So, but I won't be standing on my head anytime soon until they reverse this, because that would be very messy. Very, very messy. So, there's that. I'm just rambling, and so I should probably stop rambling. Very excited to be alive. Very excited by how everything's happening, and you know, here I am in the middle of this shamanic journey that's coming to a climax through the next couple of days as the moon crosses the nadir of my chart. Because it appears that I'm in alignment with the movement of the planets, because everything that's happened from you know, leading up to the operation. I looked at the charts from getting the news on the 5th of July, leaving the gathering and getting the news that I had to do this, where the moon was, and what was, you know, what and so forth in it. And then when the operation happened, I looked at that chart, and it's all about where the moon is and what it's hitting. And then when I got released, that's the day that Biden made his decision, and that was the morning of the full moon. And I watched the full moon set on Palos Verdes from my bed. And I didn't know at the time I'd be leaving the hospital that day. But a couple hours later, at noon, I started my new life. I started my new life with my new body. It's got a few holes in it, but it might not have any cancer in it. That would be nice for the first time in a while. But that's what we're aiming for. Alrighty. Well, yeah, on Monday afternoon I've got another appointment to meet my practitioner doctor. I've seen her name on so many documents and reports and everything over the years. But we've never met for years. But we're going to probably meet at 1 o'clock on Monday, after the surgeons. So that's what's up. Alrighty. Thanks for listening. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for being connected into this web of people that give a shit about David Alexander English and how things turn out. And thanks for donating to my David's Wonder Fund and to my Venmo and to my life, my continued existence as an overachieving, high-functioning overachiever. High-functioning overachiever. I think that's a great T-shirt. Yeah. It occurred to me. I'm trying to understand these doctors, these people who have chosen to be doctors, and one of the head of the new head of the surgery department, colorectal surgery department, came in on Saturday morning, and he was wearing a backpack, like you would go hiking with, kind of size backpack, and only a high-functioning overachiever would think that that's okay, that's cool or whatever, because there's nothing more that says more, I am a geek, than doing your rounds with a huge friggin' backpack. Just kind of makes you wonder what's in it, Does he own a motorcycle or something, or did he pull it out of his trunk and put it on and say, it's got everything I need in there? I mean, I understand this thinking. And so when I saw that this was a high functioning overachiever, I had to look in the mirror. So this calculation of time, you look down or you look up your ass and you see that there's a tumor that's the same fucking size it was when you started all the treatment 6 months ago. You know that if you don't do this, it's going to be a short amount of time on Earth and a very messy death. Very painful death. But if you do this, the chance of being cured, gee, a gun to my head or no gun to my head. Yes. What a life. Should be have constructed a life, chosen a life that has such questions, such moments where you have to make a decision like that. So blessed. I'm a good writer, he said to himself in the front seat. Trying to live poetry. Trying to live the poetry that's unfolding. Yeah, all that. Remember, we love you. Are you sure you want to stop streaming?